Hi, everyone. Hi, and welcome to today's webinar. Before we begin, my name is Anca. I wanted to allow a few minutes to pass for everyone to join the webinar first. And in the meantime, I am very curious to see if you are already a SocialBee user on the platform and you want to explore more, or if you're not yet a user on the platform. So please go ahead and let me know in the chat if you are already using SocialBee in your social media marketing. In the meantime, I will set some ground rules here just before we begin. So first of all, you'll notice that on the screen with me is my colleague, Andrea. She is going to be in the chats with you guys. So if you have any issues whatsoever, she'll be able to help with that. Okay, so I'm reading the comments here saying that there's a lot of new users. I'm excited for you guys. I hope you're going to have an amazing experience with SocialBee. I think it's a great tool, honestly, and I think the services that we're going to talk about in today's webinar will take it even further. Now, speaking of this webinar, because I know this will be a question, yes, this webinar is recorded and you will get a recording via email as soon as it gets processed and everything. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or if you have any need for clarifications, we will also have a Q&A section that we're going to go through at the end of this webinar. So there's a Q&A box somewhere around here, I believe, and you can ask your questions there, and then we can talk about them. I think that's it. Okay, so I am going to start sharing my screen. So today we are going to talk about marketing made simple, and we're going to actually talk about how you can simplify your social media strategies with 7 services that you will need to have in 2023, or what's left of it. Before we begin, though, let me properly introduce myself. Hi, my name is Anca. I'm SocialBee's social media marketing strategist, and I'm here to help you guys to get the most out of your social media strategy and make it effortless and super, super, super easy. To do that, I'm going to talk to you today about the 6 or 7 services that SocialBee has that you can leverage to your advantage. So these services, we usually call them concierge services, and I like to associate this with toppings on a pizza, because if you have SocialBee as a tool, you're already doing awesome, and that's the crust of the pizza, right? And then you can add on the services to make it even better, just like you would prosciutto on a pizza. I think everyone would agree that's a great topping on pizza. So So the concierge services that we have are there to complement your strategy and ease your social media efforts even further. And you'll see that they are grouped in around 4 big chunks, so to speak. So there's services that are meant to help you with social content. There's services that are meant to help you with content marketing in general. There are services that are meant to help you with growing your accounts and engagement and so on. And then there are also services that will help you with acquisition and amplification. Now, we're going to go through all of them in more detail, but before we do break them apart, let me just go ahead and ask you one question. Which one of these do you need help with? So what areas of your social marketing do you need help with? I'm very curious to see. So I'm opening the chat here and I am waiting for some replies. In the meantime, while you take your time to reply, I'm going to go through the normal flow that we have with all of the services that we have. So you'll see that every service that you have at your disposal in SocialBee starts from point A, which is the intake form. That's usually a type form that has a few questions that are relevant for that service. And let's take social media content, for instance. This would be something like, what's your tone of voice? What topics should we cover? What industry are you in? Who's your target audience? What topics we should avoid even? A lot of things like that. So these will help give us a better idea of what you need help with, what your brand is, what your needs are and what your expectations are so that we can deliver on them. Once you send us those answers on the intake form, our team will analyze those answers and make sure that you get paired with one of our specialists in that industry or in that field. So we have teams of specialists that specialize in different areas of the online marketing. So we have people who are more in depth into the content marketing area. We have people who are focusing on the socials and so on. So we're going to make sure to look at your answers from the intake form and pair you with someone who will be able to deliver on those expectations. So that's where the designated B comes into play, which is what we like to call ourselves, since, you know, we're Bs working at SocialBee here. Okay, so once you have a designated B on your account, what happens next? Well, we go into the strategy phase, and this can take up to, I guess, 10 business days. When we do the research, we come up with the strategy, we come up with the plan, so that we can deliver that service over to you. And then the last thing that happens is that we actually start delivering the content, the growth, and everything like that. And then also there's reporting involved as well. Okay, so I'm going to look at the chat and see what you answered here. I can see engagement, content, scheduling and repurposing, lead generation, content writing, community management, lead generation again. So I guess it's quite a mix of everything. So let's go into each of them in a little more detail and see how SocialBee can help you in each of these areas. Starting with social content creation. Here, things are simple. We have one service. That service is the social media specialist. The social media specialist is designed to create the content that is meant to go on your socials. So you'll be able to choose from one of 3 tiers, and this is typically the case with the majority of our services. So there's usually going to be a light, standard, and plus tier, depending on your needs and depending on a few other factors that are individual to each service. For social media in particular, we have 3 tiers: light, standard, and plus. And you can differentiate between them and see which one works best for you, depending on the number of posts that you need in a week. So for instance, the light tier is good for someone who just wants to maintain a constant presence online, not giving too much fuss about the growth part. They just want to be present in the online world. And that's enough done with 3 posts a week, which is what the light service offers. However, if your intention is to grow your business, and this is especially true for Instagram, but also across multiple platforms. If you intend to grow your business and grow the visibility, the more you post, the more you'll be able to grow. And so there comes Social Media Specialist Standard, or SMS, how we shorten it. The Social Media Specialist Standard has 1 post every day. So that means that throughout a month or even a year, you will not miss 1 single day of posting, even if you're on vacation, even if the specialist is on vacation. So this will ensure that you have that consistency and that rhythm to your posting that everyone is talking about. You need to be consistent on social media in order to grow, and this service does just that. Another difference between this and, let's say, the Plus version, which also offers 1 post every day or 7 per week, is the fact that the Plus version is more dedicated towards a bigger purpose. So the Plus version also accommodates any Facebook boosting posts or creating more animated GIFs or infographics, creating customized text for each type of platform, and so on. So there are a few benefits of going for the Plus version instead of the standard, but for the most people, standard will do just fine. By the way, you can find all of this information on our website. And Andrea, if you have the time, please add the link to each service as I talk about them in the chat so people can save them for later. Okay, so we've talked about how the social media specialist works. And now I'm going to show you a few examples of how our work looks on some of our clients. And you can see that we have clients in different industries, including HR professionals, coaches, real estate, B2C businesses, B2B businesses. So it's quite a big array of industries. And there are people in our team who specialize in different industries. So that was one example. This is another one, including a video that is an animation that we create for YouTube Shorts, for instance, or Instagram Reels and something like that. So there are a few samples that you can see, and you can even see more samples on our website in the link that I think Andrea just posted. Yes, thank you. Okay, and we're going to move into the second service or the second group, which is content marketing. And this one actually has three types of services, two of them being recurring services, one being a one-time thing. You'll see what I mean in a minute. So first of all, we have the most obvious one, which is article writing. Article writing is where you can have our team create blog articles or guest posts or things like that for your blog, for your other outlets that you publish on, including LinkedIn. So this is where we create the content for you. And it includes SEO optimization, it includes imagery and everything like that. And we'll talk about that in more detail in a minute. But first, this service is something that has two different frequencies. So for one, it can be, you can choose between monthly posts or monthly articles and weekly articles, depending on how much content you need. So the pricing will also be different depending on that as well. Again, here you'll have three tiers: light, standard, and plus. And the main differences between them is in the number of words that that article includes, also the way we go in depth into those articles and into those topics. So to give you an example, any standard article, top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, anything like that can be approached in the light service. But if you need something that's a little more in depth, or that is something that's very industry specific, let's say something that's about legal things where you need to make sure that everything is according to the legislation in your country, then you should go for the plus version instead. It also adds more benefits in the sense of how we implement edits that you need, how we upload or how we deliver the articles over to you, because with the light and standard version, they are delivered in a Google Doc, whereas in the plus version, they are uploaded to the CMS of your choice. And it also includes a few other differences that you'll be able to see on our website. This is also on the article writing services. And by the way, what you're seeing right now, and the previous slide and this one, these are the weekly frequency articles, but you'll also be able to see the monthly, which offer the same exact specifications, except the frequency is one article per month instead of one article per week. So that would be the difference. All of the articles include CTAs, all of them include some levels of social media posts that you can use to promote the article. And all of them include some sort of SEO optimization. So you'll have that at your disposal at any time. Now, the second service in the content marketing group would be the copywriting. And here it's actually split even further into three subgroups, so to speak. So we have a service to help you with product descriptions. We have a service that can help you with email copywriting. And we also have a service that can help you create a landing page, create your website, and so on. But rather just create the copy for your website. So each one of these is designed for different needs. For instance, the email copywriting can be used to create a nurture email sequence, or it can be used to create newsletters for every month. This is where the difference comes into play, because these three services, they are not on Light, Standard, and Plus tiers. These are rather a one-time service that you can purchase whenever you need it. So you're not always going to need a landing page created. So it wouldn't make sense to have these services as recurring. However, it would make sense to have them here for whenever you need them. Let's go through each of them in a little bit of detail and see exactly what they include. So for one, we have product descriptions, which includes any type of descriptions for products within the limit of 1,200 words. And they include the meta description, the CTA. It gets delivered in a Google Doc so that you can upload it to your website. It's SEO friendly, and it also has the ability to include graphics as well with a custom add-on. Email copywriting will give you 5 email copies. That can be a sequence of 5 emails per nurturing sequence, or it can be 5 newsletters that you want to create for 5 months in a row. It's up to you. And it has everything from subject lines to CTA, and it, of course, also has the option to add it to your platform of choice. If we upload it, you can pick that as an add-on. And then finally, we have the web copywriting, which is up to 1,000 words, and it includes everything that's SEO friendly, meta description, CTA, and it also gets delivered in a Google Doc. The last service that we have in the content group is the guide creation. This is something that can help you with creating content that is a little more intense. So I guess case studies, ebooks, lead magnets, white papers, things like that are a little more in depth and offer a little more information. Typically, this one includes up to 3,000 words originally, and then you can add more words if needed, according to the needs that you have at that time. Here you'll also get guide visuals, you'll also get CTAs and descriptions and everything. And also you have the option to create 10 social media posts for your guide or for your ebook at an extra cost. So you have all of these options for your content needs. Next, let's go into the engaged growth section, and here you'll find community management. This one is specifically designed to help grow your Instagram account, and you'll be able to see that we return to the Light, Standard, and Plus tiers, and the difference between them is in the number of interactions that we're going to be making on your account. How this works is typically twofold. So for one, we go into your account, we reply to any comments, DMs, anything like that, to make sure that your existing community is taken care of and that they feel that. Then number 2 is that we go outside of your community and we comment on posts of interest in the industry, in with people that are actually talking about the topics that you're also talking about, and making relevant comments and interactions there so that they notice your account and eventually end up following your account as well. This is all done by hand, so there are no bots involved. There's no risk of any kind with this type of service. You'll be able to see that it depends on the number of interactions, it depends on the story interactions, it depends on the frequency, inbox management, inbox replies, and everything. But you'll also notice that each of them gives you a report at the end of the month to let you know what has been done through your account. And if you're in a different location and you're worried about that, don't worry, we do offer a VPN where we actually use to make sure that the same location is specified in your Instagram account. The second service in the engaged growth category is the LinkedIn lead generation. And this one also has 3 main tiers: Light, Standard, and Plus. And in here, what we do is we go into your LinkedIn account and connect you with the right people in your target audience to make sure that your target audience comes to you whenever they need it. Here as well, we're going to do about 100 connections per week, regardless of your tier. And the difference comes into play in the number of messages that we will be sending on your behalf to those leads and to those connections. So you'll see that the light version will have only the initial message, the initial note of when you connect to that person. The standard one also has one follow-up message. So in case you're connecting with me and I don't reply, you can also send one other message. And then we also have the Plus version, which offers one more message extra. And you also have the option to add even more if you need to. With these ones, depending on the tier that you're on, we are also able to reply to your prospects and guide them to your funnel so that you can take them over from there. And it also offers reporting. Now, with this service in particular, we usually recommend having Sales Navigator as part of your LinkedIn so that we are able to filter properly and reach the right audiences for you. That's a lot of information, I think. I'm going to talk about the final group here, which is acquisition and amplification, or as we all know it, ads management. So that's the last of our services. And this one also splits between 3 main tiers, but we also have any other custom packages that you can use depending on your needs here. So the main difference here is in the budget that you have for your ads. So go for light if you have a budget of under $1,000. Go for standard if you have a budget of around $2,000, and go for plus if you have up to $4,500. All of these things offer strategy, offer monthly reporting, cold and warm campaigns, text and visuals are included, but what is not included, and it's very important for you to take into consideration, is that the ad spend is not included in the fee that you're seeing on the screen right now. So the campaign budget that you see in the first row here would be the ad spend that you need to take into consideration before purchasing any ads management services. Okay, so you can see a lot of information on how people have previously reacted to the services that they had with us over time, and you'll be able to see a lot of them on our website as well. Now, let me just go ahead and check really quick the chat here. Okay, so I see there's quite a few comments and quite a few questions, and I'm really excited to answer them. But before we do that, so what would be the next step for you guys in order to take advantage of all of these services? Well, the next step would be to go into your SocialBee account if you have one, or create a SocialBee account if you don't have one yet, and go into the concierge store, which is going to be at the top right corner of your screen. And with that, you'll be able to purchase the service of your choice. Now, one thing that you should know about this is that it will ask you to select a platform or select a profile, as you can see it right now on the screen. It will ask you to select a platform for your service. And when this happens, you only need to select one. This is just so that we know what brand we're talking about, especially in the case of people who have multiple brands in their account. but it's just a technicality to help us identify the correct brand. So it doesn't mean that we're only going to publish to your Instagram account. It doesn't mean that your article is going to be published on Instagram or anything else. So it just means that you need to connect it to a specific profile so that we can identify the brand that we're talking about. So for a social media specialist in particular, you can select your main platform, the one that you want to focus on most, and then the other platforms will also have content included in them as well, but we'll know what your main platform is. Okay, so it's time for some questions, I think. I have a few questions in my Q&A here. Let me see what questions we have here. Okay, I will start with the first one. How best to identify product or service influencers on LinkedIn, Twitter, and/or Instagram? Following the right people enables other businesses to engage people interested in the influencer's subject matter. I'm not super sure I understand the question. How to identify product or service influencers. I guess I could speak on Instagram more specifically, as I'm more familiar with influencers there than I am on LinkedIn and Twitter. But you can look at a few things. You can look at the vanity metrics, which is the number of people that are following them, the number of people that are liking their posts. You can look at their engagement rate, because that's also very important. And then you can see if they have a community around their content, and if you can see any signs of that community actually being trustworthy and trusting towards the person they're following. And I guess that way you would be able to tell if they are a true influencer or not. The next question I have here, I like to set up one-on-one meeting at some point to update my needs. Okay, so this is talking about a one-on-one call with SocialBee, and that is something that you can do. You'll be able to speak with me or one of my colleagues and see what's the best course of action for you. To do that, you're going to need to go to the website, to the calendar section, and you can book a one-on-one call there. Or Andrea, can you please add the calendar link in the chat as well? Another question, is the intake form available for free or is it subscription based? So the intake form is free of charge. It gets unlocked automatically when you purchase the service that you need. So if you purchase the social media specialist, you'll get automatically the intake form for the social media specialist. If you purchase the content writing, the article writing, I mean, you'll get the intake form for the content writing service, because each of the services have specific questions that are relevant to that specific service. Next question. So does the service brand posts and comments to my tone of voice? Yes. As a matter of fact, what's the tone of voice that you prefer is one of the questions in the intake form. So we will make sure to adapt to what your actual tone of voice is. And to do that, we have two main things that we do. So for one, we're going to look into the historical data and see if there is any historical data to see what you've been doing so far. And the second thing is that we're going to ask you to review the content before it goes out. And this is something that we typically do, especially within the first month of service, to make sure that you can provide any feedback necessary to adjust the tone of voice and comments and everything like that. I only have 3 more questions here. So if you have any further questions, please just let me know. Okay, I'll move into the next question here, which is, how do you ensure quality services? That's a very good question. The first thing that I can say is that we're confident that we can provide these good quality services, and to show that we are confident about it, we do offer a 30-day money-back guarantee, which means that you can try the service risk-free. Essentially, if you don't like it within your first month, you can ask for your money back, and no harm, no foul. It's as easy as that. The second thing is that, as I said before, we do ask you to review and offer feedback on each round of content so that we can make sure that they are properly done for your needs and for your expectations. So the more you communicate with us, the more we can ensure that the right service is being provided to you. Okay, next question. When you plan a post for Instagram, is it necessary to do it with the SocialBee app since it's not uploaded automatically? I'm assuming you're saying that Instagram, the posts for Instagram are not uploaded automatically. And if that's the case, you should get in touch with us because yes, it can be automatically uploaded. So Instagram has the ability to post directly. No, SocialBee has the ability to post directly to Instagram. And if you're not, then there might something be not set up properly within your account. But to answer this question, usually the way it works for the social media specialist in particular is that you already have the platform and the specialist will upload the content into the SocialBee platform for you. If that's not something that you prefer, we can also export the content into a CSV format so that you can upload it to the platform of your choice. But ideally, it would be under SocialBee. But again, if you are having issues with Instagram, with posting to Instagram specifically from SocialBee, reach out to our support team at support@socialbee.com and they'll be able to guide you and help you along. Okay, next question. Can I still review the content before it goes out? What happens if I don't like the posts? That's a very, very good question as well. Yes, you can review the content before it goes out. It's actually something that we recommend that you do, especially between the first few months, but you can also do it as you progress along in the service. And if you don't like any of the posts, there's a number of edits that you can request each week based on the tier that you're in. So let's say you're on the standard tier, which offers 7 posts a week. You can request around, I believe, 4 edits per week. That means 4 out of your 7 posts can be completely changed within that week. So you have options to provide feedback for those posts and we can change whatever is not up to your standards in those posts. Now, the turnaround time for those edits also depends on the tier that you're on and on the demand that we have at the moment, but it's usually not more than 2 business days for the edits. Next question. I only have 2 questions left here. When a story is planned for Instagram, it always has to be uploaded from the, okay, so this is a clarification. It's not a separate question. So yes, for stories on Instagram, you cannot publish them directly. And that is the case for any social media scheduler, unfortunately, because Instagram does not allow that at the moment. So for stories in particular, yes, you will get a notification via your mobile phone and you'll be able to post it from there. But other than that, posts should be publishing correctly within SocialBee. And then the final question that I have here is, does the specialist use the analytics to see what my audience likes and focus on that type of content? Yes, so we do these types of health checks on the account every now and again, and we look at how the content is performing and adjust wherever is needed so that we can make sure we maximize the service's potential through your account. So we make sure that you are getting the most out of what you're paying for. And I guess that's the last of my questions here. So thank you all for joining today. Before I go, I wanted to share with you a special offer that we have for you because you're here with me on this webinar. So if you're interested in any of the concierge services that we have, you can always use the code concierge 20 × 2 on any of the services that we have until the end of the month, I believe. So if you plan on purchasing these services, this would be the right time to do so. You'll also have the code included in the follow-up email that you'll be getting after this webinar, so you don't have to worry about it. And if you have any questions whatsoever, you can always reach out to our team, either myself, Anca at socialbee.com, or to the entirety of our team at hello@socialbee.com. And I guess, oh, we have another question. Nope, that's not a question. That's an email. Perfect. Okay, so if you have any questions, you can always reach out to us. And I guess I'll see you guys next time, or in the app on one-on-one calls. And that's it. Thank you all for joining, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.